Hello and welcome. So we have news. We have a strong statement from Prince Harry as all of a sudden there are leaks in the press about what may have allegedly happened in his sit down with King Charles. And today we have an intriguing one. The tea is hot and we have a lot to talk about. As we discuss, we're going to analyze a couple of things here. As the relationship between Charles and Harry continues to improve and we're seeing these leaks in the press, we're going to sit down and do this because we know this is chess, not checkers. We're going to analyze who stands to gain if their relationship continues to move forward, who stands to lose if not, and what is going on in the press. We have a good one, so I want you to grab a snack and a cuppa and sit down. We have a lot to get into, so let's get into this. The Duke of Sussex has suggested people are trying to sabotage his reconciliation with King Charles, as he described media reports about their recent meeting as categorically false, in quotes. As we know, Prince Harry met his father at Clarence House in London on the 10th of September in their first face-to-face meeting since February 2024. However, a report in The Sun on Saturday suggested the reunion had been more formal than expected, with the Duke reportedly left feeling like he was being treated as an official visitor rather than family. In a statement, Prince Harry's spokesperson said the claims were, quote, pure invention fed, one can only assume, by sources intent on sabotaging any reconciliation between father and son, end quote. The article goes on to say the spokesperson did not elaborate on who the sources may be. The Sun newspaper said Prince Harry had confirmed aspects of its reporting. To that we say, yeah, right. Harry does not talk to tabloids. They also went on to say that the Duke's office was, quote, given full right of reply yesterday in advance of publication and opted not to give a response to the Sun's carefully sourced account of the meeting, end quote. Now come on here, let's put on our thinking caps. How can they say in the same breath that Harry had confirmed aspects of its reporting and then go on to say that Harry did not give a response to the Sun's carefully sourced account of the meeting? So did he talk to you or did he not? As we know, Harry and Meghan had firmly given their stance on any kind of interaction with the tabloids. They said they would not be giving out any statements to them, and they have kept to their word in all of the time that they have not been senior working royals. They do not interact with the tabloids. And the Duke of Sussex also drew back the curtain on whoever those sources, in quotes, can be. He said anytime you see those sources, you should totally not believe anything that's being stated. He has his spokesperson and he will not, as the meme says, go around the corners, right? He speaks directly. Harry owns everything he says. So, okay, sure, Jan, to the Sun newspaper. So the article goes on to say that the Duke's recent visit to the United Kingdom took place over 4 days, during which he carried out a series of charity events in Nottingham and London. Almost 2 years had passed since father and son last saw each other, with their last engagement together taking place soon after the King's diagnosis last year. And they go on to talk about Buckingham Palace did confirm that the pair had a private tea together during their visit that lasted about 50 minutes. And the meeting was seen to be the first step in improving relations between the King and the Duke following what had been a deep family rift. Prince Harry had previously told BBC News he did not want to fight anymore, saying in an interview in May, "I would love a reconciliation with my family." Now, isn't it interesting? Remember, all of you in the comments, we had a poll running. In fact, we had several polls running about Harry meeting up with his father and whether it was a step in the right direction. How were you all feeling about this? And across the board, not just here on this channel, people did seem to be happy with the fact that Harry was reaching out and those bridges were being mended. But in the same tone, all of you were like, Harry now has to be super careful because of all of the palace politics, the leaking, the sources. And as Harry has said, he does sense that there is, as he has said, people who are trying to sabotage, in quotes, his reconciliation with his dad. Now, isn't it interesting? I did not even read that Sun article, and I'm not going to give them those clicks. But we do know that some of you have shared on X pictures of what may have been apparently leaked in the press. So I credit those of you on X who did take screen grabs of those articles to redirect any clicks from going to those tabloids. You also archived the articles as well. So we do have those apparent sources, in quotes, and what they leaked to these tabloids about the meeting. Some of you pointed out that it was somehow in the press that there may have been kisses and gifts given during this sit down. Of course, once again, credit to those on X who did just screen grab the article. So there was the Sun. They had an exclusive. They also said that in this meeting, pictures of Archie and Lilibet had also been shown. So, oh my gosh, let me just give you this statement in full. This is Prince Harry's spokesperson saying, quote, "Recent reporting of the Duke's view of the tone of the meeting is categorically false. The quotes attributed to him are pure invention fed, one can only assume, by sources intent on sabotaging any reconciliation between father and son." Presumably, those same sources have also chosen to disclose that gifts were exchanged. While we would have preferred such details to remain private for the sake of clarity, we can confirm that a framed photograph was handed over. However, the image did not contain the Duke and Duchess, end quote. So, in context with whatever was leaked, there had been a report in The Sun that Harry had given his dad a picture of himself, his wife Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and their two children, Archie and Lily. So you can see someone is actually briefing the press on what had happened. And we know this is not from Harry's side. Harry does not talk to tabloids. He would never talk to The Sun. Even if he had all the excitement in the world to share with us what had been said, he would never ever talk to a tabloid. He would have talked to some mainstream media. And anyway, why would he do so? He knows that if he himself started talking about what happened in those meetings, it would be self-sabotage for sure. So who is leaking? Who told The Sun that there was a picture given, kisses, or whatever it was they had said? And why is this happening? You know, so Harry, as I've said, this is not from the Sussexes. He would never self-sabotage. He wants a relationship with his family. He said it before. He even wants the bridge to be built with his brother, but right now his focus is on his dad. And it seems Charles also wants Harry back. So what is going on? So in the comments, just jump in right now and start typing what you think is happening. We were saying that there were signs and hopes for reconciliation, and now this private tea between father and son is all over the press. People know pictures were shared. People know kisses were given. What's going to happen next? Bullet points in the press of what they spoke, minutes. So come on, guys, get in the comment section, share your own thoughts about what you think is happening with this briefing. But I agree with Harry. This is all about someone trying to create a new rift between Charles and Harry, and who could stand to gain from that? The intrigue. This is where I'm going to segue into another article which was brought to my attention through social media, which is quite interesting because this publication, Harper's Bazaar, they are sometimes not very favorable towards the Sussexes. There are some things that we will take with a grain of salt, but there is something that was in this piece that a lot of you brought to my attention on social media. And I'm going to share this with you because it has inadvertently given us some more context and layers and insight into all that is happening with Harry's spokesperson speaking out today. So I want us to just pay attention to that special part that I'm going to highlight in this article. And it was published, by the way, on the 26th of September. So that's way before Harry's statement. I'm going to give you the high points of this. I'm not going to go through everything, but this stood out. In their article, they say, quote, "It was a sign of hope for reconciliation, one bigger than had existed in years. Where do they go from here? saying of Charles and Harry. And what about Harry's older brother, Prince William? Harry's tea with the king was an encouraging first step towards reconciliation, but I doubt if things will ever be the same between the brothers. And this was according to royal biographer Christopher Anderson telling Harper's Bazaar. William has not forgiven his brother for airing royal family's dirty laundry and spare. If at some point William and Harry have similar meetings in the coming months, it will almost certainly be for appearance's sake, to make it look as if the monarchy isn't coming apart at the seams, end quote. So Harry, for his part, said in that interview with The Guardian that was released, he said his conscience was clear. He said, quote, "I know that speaking out annoys some people and it goes against the narrative. The book, it was a series of corrections to stories already out there. One point of view had been put out and it needed to be corrected. It was a difficult message, but I did it in the best way possible," Harry added. So Harry, as I said, told BBC he wanted to reconcile with his family. And he said you cannot have reconciliation before you have truth. So they go on to say that whereas Harry has been more open to the public about his feelings, William has kept his more private. Jason Knopf, who previously worked as communications secretary for both the brothers and who now serves as CEO of Prince William's Earthshot Prize, told 60 Minutes Australia in a rare interview earlier this year, "It is very difficult to have this stuff play out in the public eye." He says, but William has chosen to keep his thoughts on it private, and I think all of us who know him really have to respect that we have to do the same. I will say, of course, it's been hard and sad, especially for all of us who know both of them, he added. And the article says royal biographer Robert Jobson, whose book The Windsor Legacy is out in January, told Bazaar, like his late mother, Princess Diana, Harry wears his heart on his sleeve. For the sake of the monarchy, he adds, the rift between the brothers has to be resolved, in quotes. But he notes that William will never forgive any slights against his wife in Harry's book. Now I'm going to ask here, did Harry say anything negative against Kate in the book? Let me know that in the comments. Anyway, the article goes on to say Robert Hardman, author of the books like 2022's Queen of Our Times, told Bazaar, while at the moment he isn't detecting any change in William and Harry's relationship, he is not ruling out reconciliation between the brothers someday. He said, I mean, never say never in the royal game. Things change, and I think things could change. It's going to require, as in any very deep-rooted personal division, a bit of give and take on both sides, end quote. Royal historian Marlene Koenigs tells Bazaar that William was sure to have been told by Charles about his tea with Harry, but as far as the brothers go, the drawbridge is still up and it hasn't come down. It's going to take a lot more time, end quote. Now, isn't that interesting? She says that William would have been told by Charles about his tea with Harry. Now, what do you think about that? I want to ask you that in a poll. Do you think that William may have been told by Charles what happened? Because according to what is being leaked in the press from, those palaces, they are not they're not pal. They're not like palling around, just hanging out every now and then, talking about everything that's going on. They seem to be doing their own thing. And a lot of critical articles of William of late. So let me know what you think about that. Anyway, as for Charles and Harry, Jobson says that the two men were the only ones in the room at their meeting earlier this month. The king is a strong man, he says. He's advised by his wife, Camilla, who looks to protect him. His son, William, who looks to protect the institution that he's going to be king of, and his advice would be to be wary of Harry because Harry blurts. But he's a dad, end quote. That's interesting. Harry is someone who can keep confidence. Harry has always spoken his own side of things, set the record straight. Whenever you see Harry's spokesperson in the press, it's correcting some nonsense that's already out there. How many nonsense articles have we seen in the past few days since Harry had that meeting? We had someone talking about Archie being enrolled in certain schools in UK, Eton. That was put down by the spokesperson. We've heard the half in, half out. The spokesperson has spoken out against that. So it's interesting. Harry has not put out anything, but we are seeing these strange stories that are in the press, right? So yes, there are some things in this article that are not things that I agree with, but it is a very interesting thing that's coming up here, which is why I want to share this with you. So this is the part of this article that I want you to pay attention to. It says, while royal commentator Amanda Matta tells Bazaar, everyone's pretty tight-lipped about their actual conversation. I think understandably. The sense I get is that Charles would be open to forgiveness or welcoming Harry back into the fold, but it is William who's the one kind of putting his foot down, and he thinks it's his position to be kind of the voice of reason here, in the sense that Charles might have a soft spot for Harry, that's his youngest son, and William's a bit more prepared to put the institution first. End quote. Charles, Matta adds, is, quote, keenly aware of this, is my son at the end of the day, end quote. So relations between Charles and Harry have improved, Hardman says, and their meeting was a positive step in the right direction, and Charles is very likely to take a state visit to the US in the first half of 2026, saying, quote, let's see what happens then. Maybe that's a moment for the king to meet with his grandchildren, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Who knows, end quote. So what do you think about this? Why is anyone opposed to Harry and his dad reconciling? Who stands to gain if they are not on speaking terms? Who stands to lose if they are back on cordial terms and they are talking to each other frequently, they're visiting each other frequently? Just let's do the math. From a chess point of view, first of all, Charles stands to gain from them reconciling. First of all, he gets to look like a loving, forgiving, in quotes, because of course Harry was the one wronged, in my opinion. He stands to just look like a loving dad, loving grandfather, and then of course the positive press of having Archie and Lily, meeting up with him. He gains again, granddad of the year cup. I can see it. Harry as well gets to gain because he has his dad back in his life, and we will say for Harry, he has wanted his police protection back. It is his right. He was born into that position. And if they're back on speaking terms, those are things that can be arranged just by a decision. We all know that his dad has basically provided protection for his other brother there, the disgraced one. And for Harry, it would be just nothing more than a signature for him to have his police protection restored. And that's just on an aside point, right? All in all, Harry would have his dad back. They would have that relationship, and it would be good, beneficial for both of them. There is a downside, of course, for Harry, the leaking from the palace, people trying to know what they've spoken about, it always being in the press, speculation. Yes, of course, there is a downside. But who else stands to lose and gain if these two are at loggerheads? So let's do the math. We're going to have polls running. We're going to know it all in the comments. I want to know all of your thoughts. And by the way, as we talk about who stands to gain from this reconciliation, I want to just give some free advice to Team or Camp William. On this channel, I do not talk about William and Kate. I just don't. I have my reasons. And I want to say this from a very pure place. If that camp of the William camp, or whatever you want to call them, could truly just step back and take a bird's eye view, they would understand that William gets to gain too if Harry and his dad and him reconcile. It's not always about competition. It's not always about who gets the headlines and the clicks. Sometimes you have to look at this from a family standpoint. You get to have your brother back. Your children get to have their cousins back in their lives. They get to grow up in this loving family unit. And if Harry and Meghan are the ones who grab all of the headlines, guess what? It doesn't mean that your royal machine that works for you gets to get into the picture and find a way to just push them out. That rising tide will lift all ships. You all look good together as you go out. You could have your Fab Four as it was supposed to be. Your children could grow up together with their cousins and have a loving bond and build memories. Sometimes you just have to be a family before that institution, and all of these matters will sort themselves out. Because where genuine love is, you all look out for each other. It's not about competition. So that's just the free advice right here. It's not about who's more popular in the press. We know that everyone tends to gravitate towards Harry and Meghan. They're just quite an interesting couple. Meghan herself being a Hollywood star. Come on, how are you going to make people disinterested in that? She is mixed race, Harry's a prince. It's just literally out of a fairy tale, a modern day fairy tale at that. And you gotta let that rising tide lift you all, make you all look good. So this thing where this article has stated here that reconciliation is being halted by William, in their own words, this publication that is very negative at times against the Sussexes is telling us this a day before all of this rebuttal then I think that team and Camp William and that side, they need to rethink the strategy. It's not about the leaking, trying to make Harry appear as if he was whining in the press to create another rift. So free advice. So in fact, let's see what happens. We know positive press will go to Charles if he's reconciled with his son. He will have a chance to meet with his grandchildren, which is positive press. There is, people say that there is no bad press. There is something amazing about positive press when you are just, people are just effusive about how you are this fantastic dad and granddad who loves his grandkid. Charles gains, and Harry gains as well. He gets to have his family back. His children get to meet their granddad and on and on. And Meghan as well. She supports Harry. They're a team. Whatever they do, they will both benefit. So we need to pray for the Sussexes in this time. We are glad that Harry and his spokespeople are speaking up directly, hitting back at the lies. He was not made to feel ostracized in his meeting with his dad. It was friendly. And now what is going on with the leaks? So let's pray for the Sussexes. And as always, share your thoughts on this in the comment section below. And now, before we log off, allow me here to thank those of you who support this channel financially and shout out a couple of you here by name. A very special thank you now to you. Marcel Kendrick, thank you for choosing to show support for this channel. We are truly blessed to have you be a part of this community. Your support and generosity have been a blessing. Thank you for being a pivotal part of my YouTube journey, and thank you also for choosing to accompany me on it as well. I appreciate you for the priceless love that you have shown over the years. We really do appreciate you. God bless you and yours. Thank you. A very special thank you now to you, Olivia Johnson. Thank you for your inspirational altruism. Thank you for the kindness and support that you've shown. It is a pleasure to know you. Your unwavering encouragement has meant more than words can say. Thank you for the love and the consistency. You have made this community so much better. And I just want to say thank you for planting that seed of love, warmth, and care here as a part of this community. And I know that you will reap it immeasurably. Thank you for being you. I love you. God bless you exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, thank you to all who support this channel financially, to those who like, comment, and share. I appreciate you all. If you liked this update, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, follow on social media. Links will be in the cards and in the pinned comment. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day and keep it here for more, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.